Shedeur Sanders may have already changed the entire energy around the Cleveland Browns, and the regular season hasn't even started yet. Because after day one of Browns OTAs, fans online completely exploded over just a few practice clips. One short throw from Shedeur instantly created hype across social media, while Deshaun Watson's clips triggered another wave of frustration from Browns fans who still don't trust the direction of the organization. And honestly, that's what makes this quarterback battle feel completely different from a normal off-season competition. This doesn't feel like fans casually comparing quarterbacks anymore. It feels emotional. It feels personal. Some fans already believe the Browns are quietly preparing Shedeur Sanders to become the future face of the franchise. Others think Cleveland will force Deshaun Watson into the starting job, no matter what happens on the field because of money, contracts, and pressure behind the scenes. Then things got even messier once conflicting insider reports started spreading online. One report claimed Watson already looked like the clear starter. Another Browns insider immediately shut that down. Now fans don't know who to trust. And suddenly, every throw, every rep, every OTA clip, and every comment from the media feels like part of a much bigger battle happening inside Cleveland. Because this isn't just about football anymore. Fans believe the future of the Browns franchise may already be getting decided in real time. The most shocking part of Day 1 OTAs honestly wasn't Shedeur Sanders. It was how aggressively Browns fans reacted to Deshaun Watson. The moment Cleveland posted practice clips of Watson throwing routes during OTAs, social media instantly turned toxic. Fans flooded comment sections with frustration, sarcasm, and criticism almost immediately. FileSite turned 4 file 0 L11L24. And honestly, the emotional reaction said a lot about where the fan base currently stands. Because for many Browns fans, trust in Deshaun Watson is completely gone. Some supporters openly mocked the practice footage and claimed Watson always looks great during off-season workouts, but struggles once real games begin. Others went even further and suggested they wouldn't even buy tickets or fully support the season if Watson remained the starting quarterback. FileSite turned 4 file 0 L40 6L58. That's an incredibly strong reaction for OTA footage. But Browns fans are emotionally exhausted. Over the past few years, Cleveland supporters have dealt with constant quarterback instability, massive expectations, injuries, media scrutiny, and non-stop pressure surrounding Watson. Every season seems to begin with hope and end with disappointment. That history matters. Because now, even normal practice clips trigger emotional reactions from fans who already feel burned by the situation. And honestly, the timing couldn't be worse for Watson. The moment Shedeur Sanders entered the building, he immediately became a symbol of something new. Younger fans rallied around him instantly. Social media creators started hyping him daily. Browns content exploded online. And suddenly, Watson started feeling less like the future of the franchise and more like an obstacle standing in the way of a new era. That emotional shift became obvious during the OTA reactions. Fans weren't simply evaluating throws anymore. They were projecting frustration, hope, and years of disappointment directly onto this quarterback battle. Some supporters even argued that if Watson starts the season, the atmosphere inside the fanbase could become toxic immediately. Others warned the Browns risk losing fan excitement if they force a quarterback decision people no longer emotionally believe in. Now, to be fair, there are still fans who believe Watson deserves a legitimate opportunity to reclaim his career. Some argue that off-season practice clips mean absolutely nothing, and that people are unfairly judging him before meaningful football even begins. But emotionally, the energy around the fanbase feels very clear. Right now, a huge section of Browns fans desperately want something different. And that's exactly why one simple connection between Shedeur Sanders and KC during practice suddenly felt so massive online. Because for many fans, it looked like hope. It only took one throw. That's all it took for Browns fans to completely lose their minds online. When the Browns released a short OTA clip showing Shedeur Sanders connecting with KC on an en route, supporters immediately treated the moment like a preview of Cleveland's future offense. File site turned 4 file 0 L31L40. And honestly, the reaction was wild. Fans instantly started talking about chemistry, timing, confidence, and the possibility that the Browns may have quietly found their quarterback of the future. Now, objectively speaking, it was just one practice rep during OTAs. No pads, no real defensive pressure, no meaningful game situation. But emotionally, to Browns fans starving for optimism, the throw represented much more than football. It represented possibility. That's what makes rookie quarterback hype so powerful. Every small moment starts feeling symbolic. Every throw becomes evidence. Every smile, celebration, or practice clip suddenly gets analyzed like it reveals the future of the franchise. And because Shedeur Sanders already arrived with massive attention surrounding him, the excitement immediately snowballed. Supporters started describing the KC connection as something that could become dangerous for defenses in the future. Others claimed Shedeur already looked calm, composed, and naturally confident during practice. Some fans even argued the Browns' social media team seemed more energized posting Shedeur clips than clips of other quarterbacks. Now, obviously, a lot of that is emotional overreaction. But that's exactly what makes this situation so fascinating. Because the fan base clearly wants to believe. And after years of quarterback instability, Browns fans are desperately searching for signs that something different may finally be happening. That emotional hunger changes how people interpret everything. A normal OTA throw suddenly becomes a viral talking point. A simple connection between a rookie quarterback and receiver turns into future chemistry. Even creators online started framing Shedeur's practice moments like the beginning of a new chapter for the Browns. And honestly, the hype keeps growing because of how strongly younger fans connect with Shedeur Sanders specifically. He doesn't feel like a traditional rookie quarterback. He feels modern, social media savvy, confident, culturally relevant. That matters in today's NFL more than people realize. Because modern sports fandom isn't driven only by wins and losses anymore. It's driven by identity, personality, internet culture, and emotional connection. And right now, Shedeur Sanders has all of that working in his favor. But while fans were celebrating the OTA clips publicly, another battle was quietly beginning behind the scenes. Because conflicting insider reports suddenly created total confusion about what was actually happening inside the Browns' quarterback room. And fans immediately started questioning who they could even trust anymore. Just when Browns fans thought the quarterback battle couldn't get more confusing, conflicting insider reports completely blew up the conversation. One side claimed Deshaun Watson already looked like the clear starter. Another side immediately called that narrative completely false. And suddenly, the entire fan base started arguing over which insiders actually knew what was happening inside the building. The controversy really intensified after comments connected to LeSean McCoy and other media personalities started circulating online. Reports suggested Watson looked incredible and already had a major edge in the quarterback competition. File site turned 4 file 0 L67L82. That immediately triggered panic among Shedeur Sanders supporters. Because many fans already feared the Browns would quietly lean toward Watson regardless of performance, simply because of money contracts, and organizational pressure. So the second people heard, "Watson looks incredible," the internet exploded. But then Browns insider Daniel Oyefusi stepped in and completely shut the narrative down. According to Daniel, reports claiming Watson had clearly separated himself as the starter were simply not accurate. File site turned 450 L80 3L95. And honestly, that response changed everything. Because now fans weren't just debating quarterbacks anymore. They were debating media credibility. Supporters of Shedeur immediately rallied around Daniel's comments because they fit what many fans already wanted to believe, that the quarterback competition remained completely open. Others became frustrated and confused. How could reports sound so dramatically different this early in the process? That confusion created even more tension around OTAs. Because once fans stopped trusting media narratives, every little practice update suddenly feels suspicious. Some supporters even started accusing certain personalities of intentionally pushing pro-Watson narratives. Others claimed Browns media was trying to prepare fans emotionally for Watson remaining QB1 regardless of performance. Now, to be fair, much of that remains speculation driven by fan emotion. Off-season reporting is often messy because practices are limited, information spreads quickly, and people interpret situations differently. But emotionally, the distrust already feels very real. And honestly, the LeSean McCoy situation made things even more complicated. Because according to the creator in the transcript, McCoy had usually been supportive of Shedeur Sanders previously. File site turned 450 L96L105. So hearing comments connected to Watson gaining a clear edge caught many supporters completely off guard. That's what made the reaction so emotional. Fans didn't just disagree with the reports. They felt betrayed by them. And once that emotional distrust enters a quarterback competition, everything becomes amplified. Every OTA clip, every insider report, every practice rep, every quote from coaches. Suddenly, the entire fan base starts searching for hidden agendas and clues about what the organization truly wants. And honestly, that's when the conversation stopped feeling like normal football analysis. Because the debate was no longer only about talent. It became about whether the Browns would prioritize winning football games or protecting a massive financial investment. At the center of this entire quarterback battle sits one uncomfortable question Browns fans can't stop asking. Will Cleveland truly let the best quarterback win? Or has the decision already been made because of money? That fear completely dominates conversations around the Browns right now. Throughout the transcript, supporters repeatedly suggested that if this quarterback competition were based purely on merit, they believed Shedeur Sanders would eventually win the job. File site turned 450 L50 ATEL 66, but many fans remain terrified the Browns organization may feel financially pressured to keep Deshaun Watson in the starting role regardless of performance. And honestly, that fear didn't appear out of nowhere. Watson's contract, public attention, and organizational investment still hang over the franchise like a cloud. Fans understand the Browns committed enormous money and expectations to him. So naturally, some supporters worry the organization may hesitate to fully move on emotionally, politically, or financially. That's why phrases like "if it's all about money" became so important in the conversation. File site turned 450 L50 ATEL 66 to many fans. This quarterback battle now represents something bigger than football competition. It represents trust. If Browns fans believe the competition is fake, the emotional fallout could become massive. Supporters already feel emotionally exhausted from years of instability. So if fans start believing the organization is forcing a quarterback decision, instead of rewarding actual performance, frustration could explode instantly. That's exactly why people became so obsessed with insider reports during OTAs. Fans aren't just searching for football updates. They're searching for proof that the competition is real. And honestly, that pressure creates an incredibly difficult environment for Cleveland. Because now, every single decision the Browns make will get dissected publicly. If Watson takes more reps, fans will question why. If Shedeur shines in practice but stays lower on the depth chart, fans will accuse the organization of protecting investments. If media narratives suddenly shift toward Watson again, supporters will immediately suspect outside influence. That emotional environment makes the quarterback battle feel much heavier than normal. And to be fair, there are people who believe fans are going way too far. Some analysts argue Watson still deserves an honest opportunity to compete and prove himself. Others believe Browns fans are becoming so emotionally attached to Shedeur Sanders that they're ignoring football realities entirely. But the reason this debate keeps growing is because Shedeur already represents something emotionally powerful to a large section of the fan base. To many supporters, he symbolizes hope, change, youth, and a completely fresh direction for the organization. And once fans emotionally connect to a player that deeply, logic stops driving the conversation. Emotion takes over. That's exactly why Shedeur Sanders already feels much bigger than a normal rookie quarterback inside Cleveland. At this point, Shedeur Sanders doesn't even feel like just a rookie quarterback anymore. He feels like a movement. And honestly, that's what makes this Browns situation so intense. Usually, rookie quarterbacks earn massive emotional support after proving themselves during games. But Shedeur Sanders arrived in Cleveland with an enormous spotlight already surrounding him. The Deion Sanders connection, the college hype, the draft controversy, the media debates, the internet attention, all of it followed him directly into the Browns facility. And now Browns fans are emotionally attaching themselves to the idea that Shedeur Sanders could finally represent the beginning of a new era. That emotional attachment became obvious throughout the transcript. The creator repeatedly made it clear where his loyalty stood, openly saying, "We are here for Shedeur Sanders 1000%. File site turn 4 file 0 L106 L115. And honestly, a huge part of the internet seems to feel the exact same way. That's what makes the atmosphere around this quarterback battle feel so different. Fans aren't simply evaluating players objectively anymore. They're emotionally choosing sides. For many younger Browns supporters, Shedeur represents confidence, culture, excitement, and hope. He feels connected to internet culture in a way older quarterbacks often don't. That matters because modern sports fandom is heavily driven by emotion and identity. Fans don't just want wins anymore. They want players they feel connected to. Players who represent something. Players who make the franchise feel relevant culturally. And Shedeur Sanders already brings that energy naturally. That's why every little OTA moment spreads so quickly online. People aren't only watching football clips. They're watching a possible future superstar story develop in real time. At the same time, that emotional support also creates enormous pressure. Because now every criticism aimed at Shedeur feels personal to his supporters. Anytime someone praises Watson, fans get defensive. Anytime insiders mention Watson looking strong, supporters question motives. Anytime analysts criticize Shedeur, social media instantly explodes. That emotional intensity makes the entire situation feel almost political inside Browns fandom. And honestly, that division is probably only going to grow stronger once real games begin. because expectations surrounding Shedeur Sanders are already becoming enormous. Some fans truly believe he's destined to become the future face of the Browns franchise. Others think the hype is completely out of control before he's accomplished anything meaningful in the NFL. That emotional clash creates nonstop tension, and the Browns organization can feel that pressure building every single day. Because now, every move they make is being watched under a microscope by a fan base desperate for signs that a completely new era might finally be arriving in Cleveland. One thing became very obvious after day one of OTAs. The Browns organization is being watched closer than almost any team in football right now. And honestly, the pressure surrounding this quarterback battle may become overwhelming if the season starts badly. Every single OTA rep already feels like a national debate. Think about how insane that is. These aren't even full contact practices yet. No meaningful preseason games. No regular season action. And yet Browns fans are already analyzing every throw like it determines the future of the franchise. That's how emotionally charged this situation has become. Supporters repeatedly emphasized throughout the transcript that they want a real, legit QB battle. File site turn 4 file 0 L117L123. That phrase matters because it reveals the deeper fear many fans have. They're scared the outcome may already be predetermined. And once supporters start believing the organization isn't being fully honest or transparent, pressure intensifies dramatically. That's why the creator also stressed the importance of speaking loudly anytime Shedeur Sanders wins practice battles. File site turn 4 file 0 L123L130 fans no longer trust quiet optimism. They want visible accountability, public recognition, proof. That mentality creates a difficult environment for coaches, reporters, and the front office. Because every decision now gets interpreted emotionally. If Watson receives praise, fans question whether the organization is protecting him. If Shedeur receives hype, critics accuse supporters of overreacting. If insiders disagree publicly, people immediately assume hidden agendas exist. That kind of atmosphere can become exhausting very quickly. And honestly, Cleveland has dealt with quarterback chaos for so long that fans now approach every competition with deep emotional baggage already attached. Years of disappointment changed the psychology of the fan base. Supporters don't simply trust the process anymore. They demand evidence. That's why OTAs suddenly feel important emotionally, even though football-wise, they don't mean very much yet. Fans are searching for reassurance. They want to believe the Browns are finally moving towards something stable, exciting, and sustainable. And because Shedeur Sanders represents that possibility to many supporters, every practice moment surrounding him instantly becomes magnified. But honestly, the biggest reason this quarterback battle feels so intense may have nothing to do with football mechanics, contracts, or OTA throws at all. It feels intense because Browns fans desperately want to believe the future can finally be different. And after everything this fan base has experienced, that hope has become deeply emotional. At its core, this entire situation is really about hope. That's why Browns fans are reacting so emotionally. Because for years, Cleveland supporters have lived through disappointment after disappointment at the quarterback position. Every season seems to begin with excitement and end with frustration, injuries, chaos, or controversy. That history changes people emotionally. Fans stop protecting themselves with logic. Instead, they start attaching themselves emotionally to the possibility that maybe this time things could finally be different. And right now, Shedeur Sanders represents that possibility for a huge section of the fan base. That's why reactions to OTAs already feel extreme. It's not really about one throw, or one practice, or one insider report. It's about what Shedeur symbolizes emotionally. To many fans, he represents youth, confidence, excitement, relevance, and the chance to finally move beyond years of frustration. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson has become emotionally tied to disappointment, pressure, controversy, and unmet expectations for many supporters. That emotional contrast explains almost everything happening online right now. Because once fans emotionally connect hope to one player and frustration to another, every little moment starts feeling much larger than it actually is. A practice clip becomes symbolic. A depth chart rumor becomes personal. An insider report becomes political. That's exactly where Browns fandom currently sits. And honestly, things may get even more intense once training camp fully begins. Because expectations surrounding Shedeur Sanders continue growing every single day. Supporters already believe he can eventually become QB1. Creators online are treating every OTA update like a developing movie storyline. Fans are emotionally investing themselves in the possibility of a new Browns era. And once emotional investment reaches that level, patience disappears quickly. That's why this quarterback battle may become one of the most heavily scrutinized situations in the entire NFL. Because Browns fans aren't just evaluating quarterbacks anymore. They're evaluating the future direction of the entire franchise. They want to know whether Cleveland truly plans to move forward into a new era, or whether the organization is still trapped by old decisions and old expectations. And honestly, that question may define the entire season before it even starts. Right now, the Cleveland Browns are sitting in the middle of one of the most emotional quarterback situations in football. And the craziest part, the real games haven't even started yet. After just one day of OTAs, fans are already divided, frustrated, excited, suspicious, and emotionally invested in ways that feel much deeper than a normal off-season competition. Deshaun Watson's clips triggered another wave of backlash from fans who no longer trust the direction of the organization. Shedeur Sanders' first OTA connection instantly created hope and excitement across social media. Conflicting insider reports created confusion about who's actually leading the quarterback race. And now Browns fans are questioning whether the competition will truly be based on merit, or whether financial pressure has already influenced the outcome behind closed doors. That's why this story keeps growing. Because this doesn't feel like a normal quarterback battle anymore. It feels like a fan base, emotionally, fighting over the future identity of the franchise itself. One side believes Cleveland should fully embrace a new era centered around Shedeur Sanders. The other side believes people are massively overreacting to off-season hype before real football even begins. But regardless of where people stand, one thing is undeniable. Every throw, every practice rep, every insider report, and every coaching decision from this point forward will be analyzed under an enormous spotlight. Because Browns fans are desperate for answers. And if Shedeur Sanders continues building momentum throughout camp, the pressure on the organization is only going to become louder. Because fans don't just want hope anymore. They want proof that the future of the Browns franchise is finally changing for the better. And now, the entire football world is waiting to see whether Cleveland is truly ready to turn the page into a completely new era.